Morning, Namaste. Sing along. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. And I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God.
Good morning, Kong. Thank you for that beautiful song. Brings back a lot of memories. And so as we step into this morning, I am the meditation and share this morning as we bring this time and space for Debra Bongard and her family as they transition into a new home. And she shares her experience today. There's been a lot of transition this week, and I'd like to just honor the Honorable John Lewis, House of Representative, as well as Dr. Cordy Tyndall, his name was C.T. Vivian. Both were huge civil rights activists in the 60s, marched into Selma on that day that has been so publicized in the last few years, and just honoring those two and the beautiful legacies that they've been able to leave with us. The Honorable John Lewis said that you must find a way to get in the way and get in trouble, necessary trouble. You have a moral obligation, mission, and a mandate. When you leave here to go out and see justice for all, you can do it, and you must do it. So let us just do a combination of things as we honor these two, and let us just hold today's service in honor of Debra Bongard and her family and the years and years of service and commitment to the community that is Namasté. So we'll just open this service with that. For those of you that are here with us for the meditation this morning, let me just invite you to, first of all, take a deep breath at this time. A beautiful, deep, and cleansing breath as we come into this space and place here today to just take a moment. I invite you in this moment to rest, to pause and allow the sacred nature of this pause, which isn't to stop time or to stop in being, but to actually step into our being. So wherever you're at, I just invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. There is a divine presence with me, guiding me into a perfect way. This is Science of Mind, page 540. Let us open now to a journey that is calling us, individually and collectively, drawing us closer to the divine nature of who we are. I invite you to walk with me today and listen to this voice, this all-knowing inner voice. There's an inner guide with us, that is here to lay the path of peace and love. I invite you to join me on a path. Imagine a long and windy path through a meadow that is heading up to some rolling hills, beautiful golden rolling hills. Let us walk this path. Imagine you and I together walking this path with an intentional cadence, not too fast and not too slow, just right. We're comfortable walking together quietly, listening to nature speak to us through the birds, the breeze, and feeling the sun on our backs and the occasional shade that appears with the trees along this path. Give yourself moments to allow this path and its picture within our minds to expand and become more real. As we walk together, there is another companion with us, and it is peace. It speaks to us through our steps, and we notice that nature in all its glorious creation mirrors that peace right back to us in its beautiful sounds, colors, and the feel, whether it's a cool breeze or the sun. The golden grass that we have seen, it's as high as our hips, and let us reach out with our hands and let the grass tickle the inside of our palms as we walk through it. As we walk and the road rises, we continue up the hill, feeling quietly excited and at peace, coexisting as companions at the same time. As we approach, the top of the hill becomes clear. And just over that hill, there is an immense mountain that seems endless in its vast expanse. It rises up to reach the bluest sky in our view. It also stretches left to right, infinitely as far as the eye can see. There's on the path in front of us, a way inviting us forward, and a sign that reads, "A way forward, I am with you, and I will guide you a perfect way." We pause, we look at each other, and together we step to continue. As we walk, the path becomes pine trees and aspens and other lush, beautiful green trees, and they invite us moving with the breeze and beckon us forward. Sometimes there might be doubt as we walk this path, but let us allow the path to guide us forward, and let us let go of any doubt of what the path is forward. Let us step into faith, deeper as the path winds through the trees. And as each turn that we walk, let us just drop that doubt, if there is any, and go deeper into the faith that is. We are invited deeper into this faith, and just imagine that all of a sudden arms are guiding us and holding us, if not lifting us further up the mountain. Each turn lifts us a little higher off the path, and maybe we're even floating up the path. We are truly held in the arms of the one that guides us and whispers to us all that we need to know. We begin to hear a faint sound of water. It grows louder and louder as we walk and or float and are guided on this path. A large stream is now flowing to the side of us, right along the path. And in the stream there are rocks and fallen trees that have fallen in the past, contributing to the sound of the rolling water. As we continue to walk, we see up ahead that the path is ending at a very tall granite wall. Its height is a few stories high, and at the base of it is a circular altar made of rocks. It's about 4 feet high and 3 feet wide. And there's a fire burning at the top. Beautiful purple flowers are growing between the rocks below the fire. It feels as if someone has prepared this altar and this space just for us. And a voice invites us closer to sit. Come sit with me, it says. Come allow this time and space together where we may enjoy the divine that is each one of us. So we sit at a bench that has been placed before the altar. The voice asks us, what is it that you wish to know? What is it that you want to know right now? What is it that we want to be clear about right here and right now? And let us just pause as we ponder these questions. What is it that I want to know right now? And let us allow the voice within, the presence that is always within, to respond. The voice then speaks and asks us to bring forward to the altar something to which we want to release right now, that we may place on the altar and let it dissolve into the fire. So let us take whatever that representation is of what we wish to release and let us place it on the altar. The voice speaks and thanks us for joining this space and this place together. There is a witness within that knows all you need to know, and you will be steered into truth. This inner guide will keep you on the pathway of life, direct you at all times to that which is right and best. You are never alone and will always be with this witness of the Spirit, for it is the great companion of the soul for you and for you to accept. Rest always in that truth. Rest as that is your being and who you are. The voice invites us to come back anytime we wish to this space, for this place is always accessible as we wish to tap into it. It can be any scene, it can be any place, it can be anywhere. Let us thank the voice, the presence, the place and space that has been prepared for us. Let us thank it for any truth that has been revealed. For that truth that has been revealed is for me, is the inner guide, the inner voice that is always present with us, as us. And let us return to this space where we're at in our room, in our homes, and collectively in the community that is Namasté. And let us come back. You may open your eyes and return here. There's been much transition over the last couple of weeks. Our beloved Joanne Bourgeois, our practitioner emeritus, and her passing and legacy that she leaves with the community that is Namasté. Past couple of weeks, I also lost, literally the day before, a beautiful cousin that was my aunt for most of my life, who brought to me this idea that that I'm never alone, that there is always a presence with me. There was a time in my life where family was not present. And in that time as well, I was taking care in a period of my grandmother who lived with me until she passed. And Wanda, my cousin Wanda Olive, was amazing. She used to call me each week while my grandmother was alive and check in on me and grandma and talk about how much she loved us and how much she cared for us and how she thought of us every day and that she wished she could be with us more directly. Wanda was just younger than my grandmother, and she and my grandmother both brought to me a truth that we're never alone, that we always have someone that loves us, and sometimes I don't realize it, and even when they're reaching out. But there's always someone present that loves and cares for us, and it can remind us that there's a presence that's always with us, even if it's not directly. Since my beautiful cousin Wanda passed, I have felt her, as I have felt many that have passed in my life. And when I think of these spiritual giants that have come in place, whether it's Joanne Bourgeois, whether it's my cousin Wanda Olive, the Honorable John Lewis, or Dr. C.T. Vivian, I'm reminded that they are never gone. They leave with us a space or memories within us that remind us how they have been part of our lives. They change us. They stay with us. I'd like to read you from Black Lives Matter, a statement that was written about John Lewis and the Reverend C.T. Vivian. Today we celebrate two men of moral courage, ethical excellence, and relentless diligence in making Black Lives Matter in the policies and practices of this country and world. These two, like many of us, participated in a movement, a protest, and it changed their lives forever. For C.T. Vivian and John Lewis, a jail cell was as familiar as a police officer's baton. For their human rights work, cops arrested these activist ministers more times than they cared to count. These courageous beings, now among our greatest ancestors, disrupted the status quo. They were attacked, despised, and criticized relentlessly by mainstream society and their own people, but they persisted. Years later, they received an honor due to them, including being honored the Presidential Medal of Honor. Perseverance, tenacity, and determination, among other things, is this struggle that links us to them. None of us are free until all of us are free. So let us commit daily to the work of making Black Lives Matter in our policies and practices, knowing our struggle for justice is same on this continuum for human rights struggle led by those before us. Thank you, John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, for being freedom fighters. I also want to thank Joanne Bourgeois for what she gave to this community, for my cousin Wanda, and I also want to thank Debra Bongard and her family for what they've given. So with that, let us start service with an invocation.
I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. I feel the power down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. Yes, it is. And the whole wide world is my home.
Thank you for that, Con.
Thank you, Bobby.
So I know that there is only one power and presence, and we call it God. God expressed as all that there is and more than my mind as in this human plane has the capacity, but in the infinite mind, I feel and know that there is something beyond that. I step into that and feel nature all around me, giving that expression that supports this recognition of one mind. I know that we are joy and abundance and wisdom, that we are that and so much more. I recognize the many beautiful aspects of who we are and know that that is God expressed infinitely. So I unify with that one mind. I call that and all that within me and as each person of the community that is Namasté. I open this service knowing that all is well, blessing our practitioners, our music with Kong and Miguel. Our director is Tori, and our beautiful, beloved speaker today, Debra, and the journey that she speaks to, that is so beautifully hers. I bless our board and how intentional they are with the love and care of this community. So as this service opens, I call it good and very good, and so it is.
Good morning, Namasté. I get an opportunity today to bring you the announcements. So let's start off with who we are, and you're welcome to read along with me. So I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, truth, light and peace. And when you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. And namaste. And of course, I learned practical science of my tools and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal my power and change my life. And of course, the way we do that is through awakening. Then we can realize kind of what we need to do, and then we transform into that, and then we get to do it all over again. And then that's kind of our process through this amazing spiritual practice. And our power statement is, we are a thriving, dynamic spiritual community. Hashtag we are Namaste, and this stuff works. And moving forward with our happy hour, which we love, this week will be storytelling. And I'm sure as I love to hear all the different ways that people have been touched and what have brought them to Namaste. So that'll be happening on Tuesday night at, I believe, 8 p.m. on the 21st. And then, as I've heard from many people in the choir, this is just an amazing opportunity to come together in a different way. And joining the choir, the new director, Alan Arnett, will be running this. And if you're interested in participating in the choir, email Marilee Adler or Julie Bathke. And actually, Thursdays at 6 p.m. and it's going to be on Zoom. So how neat is that? And then I'm going to pass the buck over to Ms. Bobby.
So we have a few things that are happening that are pretty deep and exciting, I would say. The first one is beginning tomorrow is our metaphysical Bible class. I love teaching from the Bible, and that means a lot considering that I spent some years and time away from it because it brought up such issue for me. So I spent some time with it over the last 10 years, and it became, again, a sacred text in my life. And so what the intention of this class is to bring that contemplative practice to the course itself, to really step into some healing around it, and how can we look at the Bible in a way that is helpful and healing. If you're interested, which I invite you to participate in the stories in the Bible in a new way, in the study of the Bible in a new way, so that you can integrate this into your life. Stephanie Melendez is taking enrollment requests. S. Melendez at namastecsl.org. You can email her and she will send you the list of books. There are 2 books that are required, believe it or not. One is the Bible, and the other one you won't need for the first class. You'll actually get to catch up on that, as if you've ordered it, it'll be from the Center for Action and Contemplation. We're using one of Richard Rohr's books. So I really invite you to join us in this deep and meaningful class that begins tomorrow night for 6 weeks. The next thing is really exciting, and that is practitioner training is going to be starting in October. Right now we have about 5 students, and if you've met the prerequisites, you can join us in October. Our practitioners will be teaching this course with some support from me, and it's a 2-year program. Year 1 is understanding the evolution of my own life and how I got here and how I can change. And year 2 is applying that self-growth to helping others. It's a beautiful experience. If you're not interested in being a practitioner but want the deeper practice, we invite you to explore this idea. You can email me if you're interested at revbobby@namastecsl.org. With that, we're going to get started today. I'm very excited to bring Debra in and exploring her journey. So we're first going to start with some music from Kong. So Tori, you can go ahead and bring up Kong with me in this moment. And so Kong, we're kind of setting the tone right here for Debra to come up and share this amazing journey that she's had from the beginnings of Namasté. When I think about Debra, one of the things, in fact, I was talking to Kristen Hawkins about this, and Debra told me this story too before, but it's so interesting when I hear it again from someone else separately. And Kristen said that Debra was absolutely instrumental in bringing the youth and family program into Namasté. She did not let that go because it was so important for her own child, as well as others that were in the community. And it was necessary for the community to expand at the time. And Debra has that way. She has that way of bringing this bigger idea into the community, into who we are. And so I am so grateful to have been able to experience who she is and what she has brought to the community that is Namaste. So Kong, if you'll set the tone, and then we'll bring Debra up into this space and have her share who she is.
Absolutely. And thank you, Debra. I'm also very grateful for you and your contribution to Namaste and the community, and I'm looking forward to your talk today. Down the dirty street, blacktop sneakers on my feet, I raced through early teenage years and dealt with all those nameless fears. Waiting as the school bell rang, drop my books and join the gang. And alley fights and stickball games where passing girls wore dirty names. Over my shoulder and back through the years, I can see my father's eyes in my memory, saying, Jesus died upon the cross, all was won and nothing lost, and how the truth will set you free. Yeah, how the truth will set you free. Turn my collar, comb my hair, hide all the confusion there. When 2 dimes made my pockets ring, I was a wealthy New York king. Being cool by the candy store, I knew my world yet wanted more. My high school colors of black and blue, they would disturb my point of view. Over my shoulder and back through the years, I can see my father's eyes in my memory. Jesus died upon the cross, all was won and nothing lost, and how the truth will set you free. And how the truth will set you free. Candy stores turn shopping mall, and 2 dimes won't buy much at all. The boy Caruso on the street is a father now in slippered feet. He tells his son as years go by how God's the truth and hates a lie. It's not what's in your pocket, son, but what's in your hearts that makes us one. Over your shoulder and back through the years, you will see your father's eyes in your memory, saying, Jesus died upon the cross, all was won and nothing lost, and how the truth will set you free. How the truth will set you free. How the truth will set you, yeah, the truth will set you free. Yeah, the truth will set you, the truth will set you free. Truth will set you free. The truth will set you free.
Wow, Kong, that was really beautiful. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that song, especially since a lot of my journey with Namaste has been about my family. My parents attended. My son was born and raised while I was at Namaste. And talking about my journey, and that song is about a journey. So it was really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And good morning, Namaste. That phrase I've said so often when I'm on the platform. I wonder if that might be the last time I will say it. So, good morning, Namaste. I am honored to be here and talking to you today, and I thank you, Reverend Bobby, for the opportunity, especially with COVID. I appreciate having this time to talk to you and share, definitely. And I have participated over the years, participated in services and even co-facilitated services, but the experience I had of creating this morning was very different. I realized, like Friday or maybe even Saturday morning, that I was putting off preparing for it because it meant I had to face leaving my community, a place I feel like I grew up in. My son literally did grow up in. It's funny to think that many of you have never met him because he was a baby and we started the youth program with him and he grew up at Namasté. And now he's 18 and heading to college. But Namasté will definitely forever be in my heart, and I will miss you. But I also found when I was trying to prepare for service that over the 20 plus years at Namasté, I have a lot of stories and a ton of personal lessons. So choosing what to say and what not to say was hard. However, Rev Bobby texted me one night and said, "What's your talk title?" And I'm like, "Talk title? Oh, right. Yeah, talk title." So I thought, well, I wonder what Bobby had for today. And I looked because she publishes them ahead of time, and her talk title was "The Truth Will Set You Free." And I thought, that's perfect. That's it. Because truth and freedom are two things I have found at Namasté. And my relationship with the word truth is one of the things that has changed significantly over my time here. So I thought we'd spend a little time on that part of my journey. To begin, let's dive a little bit deeper into the word truth. That word can have such different meanings to people, and its meaning to me has completely changed over my time here at Namasté. When I started, I was questioning everything. The religion from my youth had left me wounded and feeling that religion and God were not safe at all. However, I was called to something called spirituality, and it just felt like I wanted more. And each week when I would come to Sunday service, the talk that Christian would give would feel so practical, and I felt like I was just learning a new way to view the world and walk through life, something I could take into my life and make a difference, and I liked that a lot. However, don't tell me what to believe. I was totally betrayed and hurt, and I brought that betrayal with me. The faith of my youth told me what was true, but as I got older, I realized that their truth that I had taken to heart and based my whole life on meant that my beloved grandfather was going to hell, and that I, as a lesbian, was too. The God that I had in my life was so judgmental, and I couldn't stand it. I had to toss God out. And in the process, I tossed religion out for many years. But when I came to religious science, they were somehow talking about some different God. And what was even more amazing to me is that their word for truth, their definition, the word truth in religious science is like another word for God. And they repeatedly said, we're not trying to tell you what the truth is, what to believe. We're not trying to tell you what is right or wrong. The truth is simply another beautiful word to use for this essence that God is. And for those of you that don't know, there's a glossary in the back of the Science of Mind book written by Ernest Holmes. And here's what it says for the word truth. Truth, that which is. It is the reason, cause, and power in and through everything. It is birthless, deathless, changeless, complete, perfect, whole, self-existent, causeless, almighty, God, spirit, law, mind, intelligence, and anything and everything that implies reality. That definition of truth is something I could get behind. And so my journey at Namasté led me to this shift of changing that relationship I had with truth and with God, from my old experience to this new one, that there is nothing outside of me who judges me. There's nothing outside of me at all. That there is just this one life, one power, one presence to which we ascribe attributes to the best of our abilities. We use words like peace and love, wholeness, order, joy, power. But really, the truth is ineffable. Ineffable, which means it's too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. And my relationship with this word changed. But I skipped a few steps, or 10,000 steps, or however many there were. You don't just wake up one morning and have a different relationship with a word and have a major shift in consciousness. So let me take a step back a bit and talk a little bit more about how I got from my old feelings about truth to this shift to oneness, to that absolute nature that God is. I already said I came to Namasté hurt, but I was also scared. God was unsafe to me. Praying was unsafe. I was scared. And honestly, quite judgmental and self-critical. For example, I wasn't allowed to hurt anyone because I would mix up my actions with who I was. Meaning if I accidentally did something to hurt you, that made me a bad person. And so to prevent myself from thinking I was a bad person, I would deny it, or I'd get defensive, or I would be able to be manipulated and try to not do something that was important to me, or in order to not hurt you. And to explain a little bit more about what I mean about this feeling and mixing up my actions with who I was, I really like Brené Brown as an author that I discovered along the way, and her definition of shame really, really sticks with me. She says, I define shame as the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. Something we've experienced, done, or failed to do makes us unworthy of connection. And yes, I definitely felt that I would do something that would make me unworthy of love, unworthy of connection. And she went further and had her own definition of guilt versus shame. Shame focuses on self. Guilt is the focus on behavior. So shame would say, I am bad. Guilt says, I did something bad. But it isn't about who you are. It's about your action. And so actions you can do something about. But at the time, I was unable to tell the difference between guilt and shame. My actions were me. I couldn't separate the two. I didn't even know you could. But over time, I started to take classes. When I joined Namasté, I leaped right into volunteering. It was just who I was. I'd been raised volunteering. I've gone through pretty much all the different positions at Namasté, things we don't even do anymore. But then I stepped into classes as they started offering them. I took all the classes I could. I read a lot. I was learning a new vocabulary and discovering people like Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson and so many others. I still remember listening to A Return to Love on CD way back when and hearing for the first time, what we are born with. Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we have learned here. And then, of course, there's a famous quote from that book that at the time I had never heard before, but by now many of you have. This is also from A Return to Love, and at the time gave me a lot to think about. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. And so, of course, I also started reading The Science of Mind. And I don't think you can get too far into the science of mind and this philosophy without hearing that lovely quote, change your thinking, change your life, which does work, by the way. It really does. But How can you change something you don't even know exists? I couldn't get out of that spiral of shame of thinking who I was were my actions because I didn't know I could. I didn't even recognize that's what I was doing. And so one of the crucial keys on my journey of moving from fear and judgment to truth and oneness, a real personal keystone for me was realizing that I couldn't change anything I wasn't aware of, and that there was a hell of a lot I wasn't aware of. Have you ever had a sudden realization about yourself? Something you didn't see before, but once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. It just seemed to be all over the place, and you're like, how could I not have known? And it doesn't even have to be something you consider a bad behavior, just a trait or a habit or pattern about yourself that was so normal to you, you just weren't aware of it. Maybe a pattern you have with someone close in your life, a parent, that we're grown up with, or other people, partner. One thing that led me to one of my own experiences of realizing patterns about myself was learning about something Joanne, our beloved mentor and teacher, would call a core issue. She would say there are only a handful of core issues. And they're things like, I am unlovable, or I am not enough, or I don't matter. In my work with her, via journaling, meditation, practitioner sessions, and a lot of time and effort and thinking and paying attention, I came to realize that my core issue was that I am not enough. I'm not good enough, fast enough, kind enough, I don't do enough. I started to realize how much that idea drove my behavior and therefore my experiences. And I would see it again and again and again. I would be hurt when someone told me I had disappointed them because that meant I wasn't good enough. I would get defensive in some situation if I felt like I wasn't good enough. But to give you a specific example, there is one, I have a close family. I've been really, really lucky. I was raised in a very loving family, very small. I just have a few cousins. And now my parents have passed. It's our cousins have started getting together on a Zoom call every couple of weeks. There's 4 of us, immediate cousins. But over the years, I had always felt with my family like an outsider. I felt like I wasn't good enough, that they didn't care about me enough, that I wasn't enough like them. And as I started working with this idea of where I'm not enough comes out, I suddenly recognized that idea in my relationship with my family. I felt like my sister, who is wonderful and amazing and kind and loving and outgoing, and I am introverted and quiet, that they loved her more because I wasn't enough, that she fit better because I was different. They had kids, I didn't. And so I would see, evidence of this all around. They would call her, they would go and stay with her. I would find out they were there when she would call me and say, hey, so-and-so's here, why don't you come visit? And I'd be I didn't even know they were coming. And I would take that in and say, I am not enough. And then I realized what I was doing. And I had the opportunity to choose a different action. Opportunity doesn't mean I did. I sat with this feeling for a long time before I made my first change. Because you don't go from recognizing something to immediately being really good at, taking care of it. And so there were more times where my cousins would visit and I wouldn't say anything. But I'd go, rather than feeling like an outsider, I'd go and then I'd have a nice time because of course they loved me. Of course we got along. I had a great time with them. It was lovely. But then there'd be another phone call. But instead, I'd say, hey, can I get added to that group text? Or I'd call my cousin. What a concept. I could reach out and have my own relationship with them. And so I changed my actions because I started to recognize my behavior and where it came from. And through all of that, I learned how important it was to be aware, because awareness gave me that choice. That was my mantra as I looked deeply inside myself. As Joanne would say so often, as I learned to tell the truth of my experience, truth that wasn't always pretty. It definitely hurt. Sometimes I felt like I wasted time living in fear, and I had to admit when I was mean or lashed out at somebody. It was hard. But I kept reminding myself that my behavior was already driving me, and what I didn't know was already controlling my actions. And the more aware I was, the more choices I would have. And so the more I learned about me, the more I was able to relax into who I am today. I began to accept myself, and I can look back now and tell this story, but really in the middle of it, I had no idea where I was going. I was simply doing the best I could in the moment. I look back and my life got painful and messy at times, and I felt stuck a lot, really stuck. I couldn't see the change in the moment, but I would continue and do the work. I set myself up to be accountable with friends, taking classes, seeing Joanne. I learned about Emma Curtis Hopkins, her quote of living it, meaning living this life, living this truth, comes from thinking it deeply, writing honestly, and speaking sacredly. Thinking it deeply, writing honestly, and speaking sacredly. Joanne would say, I will not waste this pain, and I understand now what she meant. She used her pain to learn and grow and deepen her knowing of her own personal truth, her experiences, the truth of her experiences. And today, when I feel hurt or angry, or when I feel myself judging someone or myself, I also remember to look into that feeling for my truth, what is going on with me. Reverend Kristen would say, how we are together is so much more important than what we do together. And then she even shortened it, because how we are together is all that matters. The doing is a byproduct. At Namasté, I found people to companion me with love and acceptance. That was the gift I received and hopefully am learning to give. In this messiness of life, we are divine beings, each doing the absolute best that we can in the moment. If you lash out, it doesn't have anything to do with me. If you make promises to me and break them, it doesn't have anything to do with me. And when I am angry or upset, it's about me. My intention is to see you and myself as expressions of that one life that God is. It is not my place to judge your behavior or mine as unloving, hurtful, out of integrity, etc. It is my honor and my blessing to hear you, to listen to your story, and to know you as the divine, loving being that you are. That you are, not your behavior, but who you are. Thank you, Namasté, for being a place where I could learn such a powerful, powerful truth. And I take that with me always. And so I invite you to take a breath, to lean into that truth of your experience of today. As I go into prayer with one of my favorite quotes of all time from Thomas Troward. My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new, not included in past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner in me. Consequently, in my own special world of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before. And so today, in this space, in this time, I am knowing each of you as your own centers of divine operation, that we are each expressions of that one life, one power, one presence, expressing that as we move forward and dive ever more deeply into our own truth, that truth sets us free. That truth of our experience as we come to know ourselves ever more deeply. We know our divinity ever more deeply. And then we can share that with others. I can see you as the face of God, and you can see me as the face of God, especially when sometimes we each have trouble doing that ourselves. And what a wonderful place it is to have someone in your life that can hold for you. And so right here, right now, I am holding that for each of you, knowing each and every one of you as that face of God, knowing that as we each move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of what has come before, that it is life expressing, God expressing, love expressing. It is the truth of each and every one of us. And what a blessing, an amazing blessing that is. I invite you to remember your own beauty, your own love, your own truth. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Tori, bring Debra back up here for a moment. Debra, I want to thank you for the wisdom you shared today. You've really been such an important part of this community, the PRAC Corps, the practitioner leadership team. You've been on the board. You've been part of many, many beginnings and endings, transitions. And your presence has been felt. You've always asked really important, thoughtful, insightful questions. And that has made a difference here. And I just want to thank you and Diane and Jacob for being part of this community. We are blessed.
Thank you.
And thank you for your words.
Thank you.
We have such amazing people. I know that Debra talked about this might be her last time, and I'm just going to know that it's not. And I know she sees me down in the green room because, it's always good to come back and speak to Namasté. And I've never gotten to see Debra speak except share, and she is a powerful speaker. So Debra, there's an invitation out there for you to come back and to share again. It's time for our conscious giving. And again, I just want to express my gratitude for how this community gives. There are different ways in which you can give. And so just take your gift, whatever it is. If you have been spiritually fed by this message today, and any message, by any experience of what is Namasté, take that gift and place it right here in your heart. And let us take that gift and let us hold it in its deepest gratitude, the gratitude that comes from within, knowing that life is enough to be grateful, that the journey that we have as individuals and as a collective body of this community unfolds as who we are, and in the events and situations and circumstances, we know that it's all God. If it's all God, COVID is God, and this experience we're having where we're rising above racism is also God. It is our evolving consciousness. So as we give from that place that is generous, we know that this give we give to this community moves us into this place that we have been called to be. I'm grateful for the generosity and abundance of this community as we continue to do the work that is so important, as we continue to hold a place where all are one. Namasté being the place where I recognize that you and I are one. And I bless this gift. And I call it good, and so it is. So there's a slide up on the screen I'd like you to join with me and read. This is our affirmation for our conscious giving today. So read this with me. I am one with perfect action. Abundance, generosity, love, and peace are who I am. I speak my word, and it is manifest through this understanding and this knowing. This gift I am, this gift I give, circulates through this action, through this community, and comes back in divine and infinite ways. I'm just so grateful to be able to be here today, to be present as Debra has shared her journey. And with this benediction, go ahead and pull the benediction up, Tori, and then we'll bring Kong up. Let us just hold Debra and Diane and Jacob on their journey as they move into a new experience of home. Let us hold them knowing that they are always part of Namasté, that they leave a piece with us, even though they may not be with us in close proximity. And isn't it even more relevant now as we meet virtually that we can be anywhere in the world and still be one? Let us hold them on their journey in safety. Let us hold them in their journey as love. Let us hold them in their journey as this is continuing evolution of their own path. Let us know this. Let us know the truth of what change and transition is, which is just moving and evolving and growing. And it is for them, it is for Namaste. So we bless them, and so it is. So if you will say this prayer with us as we close up our service, and we'll bring Kong up as he joins us as well as we close up this service. I release any belief in bondage or limitation in my life. Every part of me moves in perfect harmony and freedom. I cannot be tied, bound, nor made inactive. For I am free spirit, and the power of my life is from the one source. There is no inaction nor false action, and I am completely free. So it is. So Colin, come up and let's walk with the Spirit as we close up our service.
Let's do it. Just real quick, I want to share something, if that's all right, about Debra.
Yes, please.
She said something very impactful to me when my father was in hospice, just about sort of when the end comes, and sometimes it can come very quickly, and it resonates with me. It's since she said it, but also since it happened and we lost my father, because it clicked afterwards when he went unresponsive, that he had mentioned to me that it can happen very quickly from that moment, and it really did. And I'm so grateful that I was there, and I think that her message to me and what she spoke to me really helped me be there for my father in those last moments. So thank you, Debra, and just wanted to say thank you for that. So this is Walking with the Spirit. I'm walking with the Spirit, and I'm talking to the Spirit, and I'm learning from the Spirit, and I'm turning to the Spirit, and I'm growing in the Spirit, and it's showing in the Spirit. Walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself in one of those situations that's leading to some kind of drama or confrontation, I go within and get plugged into my friend before it's too late. I put the Spirit in front of me to make those crooked places straight. I'm walking with the Spirit, and I'm talking to the Spirit, and I'm learning from the Spirit, and it's turned to the Spirit, and I'm growing in the Spirit, and it's showing in the Spirit. I'm walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself in one of those situations and I don't know what to do, and I got no explanation, I go within, I get plugged into myself for a revelation. 10 times out of 9, things will work out fine without my participation. Yeah, I'm walking with the Spirit, and I'm talking to the Spirit, and I'm learning from the Spirit, and I'm turning to the Spirit, and I'm growing in the Spirit, and it's showing in the Spirit. And I'm walking with the Spirit in front of, walking with the Spirit in front of, walking with the Spirit in front of me. I'm walking with the
Thank you for that, Kong. What a beautiful day of music. Thank you so much. It's been a great day. I want to thank Tori for being our director today and just flowing with this organic service. Again, I want to thank Debra for her just beautiful message. Our practitioners for supporting all that they do. Chuck was minister and practitioner support today, and he gave such a beautiful prayer this morning before we came on. So many amazing pieces to what we do, and I just want to thank you for being part of it. Have a really great week, a safe week, and remember we have a choice. We have a choice every minute to choose what we want to see with the situations that arise in our week. Let us choose good ones. Let us choose good thoughts. So in that, thank you, namaste, and have a blessed week.